been such a warm winter. It's nearly been spring, with the exception of maybe 4 days, right? We had that Christmas time when the time we were all standing outside and we're freezing and wrapped ourselves in everything we could find. And then there were just a couple of other days to speak of. I mean, this past week it hit 70, which I think is lovely, although it's a sign of the apocalypse, but that's a different sermon. The problem, though, for me, really, with this weather is that in the winter, I slow down. I'm a working mother. I have big obligations in lots of areas of my life. I'm busy. Anyone who knows me knows I'm busy all the time. I really need the winter to force the slowdown. And this year, I've been shortchanged. Instead of that natural stay inside response to freezing weather that slows things down after the holiday season, we really went from the hustle and bustle of December singing busy sidewalks to actual busy sidewalks and all that growth and productivity of springtime. In the absence of that necessary and common winter slowdown, I'm offering instead this sermon. It is meant to be a meditation on winter and on stillness, with the explicit invitation to just breathe through it. Let your body relax. Let your mind go. As I said I would, I promise not to say anything important. I won't talk about trauma. I won't call you to action. I won't give you anything deep to think or worry about. There will be no facts or figures, nothing you're going to want to remember later. Not today. Today is meant to be a gift, a kindness, a way for your brain to slow down, for your body to be still, for you to rest. So you can listen to the meditative sermon, or you can let your mind wander. You can notice the beauty of this stained glass, and then you can come back and tune back into what's being said. My words will be nothing more than an invitation to lean into the stillness of winter. So make yourselves comfortable and take a deep breath. Annie Dillard says, I bloom indoors in the winter like a forced forsythia. I come in to come out. At night, I read and write the things I've never understood, and they become clear. I reap the harvest of the year's planting. Outside, everything has opened up. Winter clear cuts and reseeds the easy way. Everywhere, paths unclog. The woods are acres of sticks. I could walk to the Gulf of Mexico in a straight line. When the leaves fall, things stand mute and revealed. Everywhere, skies extend, vistas deepen, walls become windows, doors open. All that summer conceals, winter reveals. I live in the woods. Some of you know this about me. It's a funny thing because I only ever see any of you in Midtown Manhattan, but I in fact live in the woods. My house is surrounded by trees, and for much of the year, we can't even see the other houses through all the leaves. But in the winter, the wood's empty, and I can see everything. The spring is a virtual cabaret of flowers and budding trees, and the summer is a carnival of life, and autumn a festival of color, but winter is more like a memorial. It's a time for reflection and revelation. The trees and shrubs end the autumn in a dramatic striptease exposing a bare earth, and the humans make our way inside where we are less vulnerable and less exposed than the planet appears to be. And then things get quiet. When there's snow, sound seems to be absorbed as we enter the quiet time. When the snow melts and turns that awful gray, the chill keeps us indoors where we can think. Humans don't talk about hibernation. We don't think that we hibernate, but I actually kind of think that we do. I think we enter this sort of semi-hibernation state, right? We eat this heavy food and we sleep longer hours. We move more slowly. It's kind of natural for us to hole up, to make our homes into little caves, to be lazy. And just to be clear, I'm not using the word lazy as a judgment. It's an observance, right? We do less, and that's not bad. It's countercultural, so it's unusual, but not bad. In fact, sometimes I think it's good. It's time to recharge. I think it is entirely necessary. This is what Sabbath could be for us, one day a week for rest. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a leader in the field of rest. I have one day off each week, and I still read email and I do other work things. So I preach these words for me to hear as much as anyone else. In a world that measures success by market growth, that understands the rhythm of the planet only insofar as it pertains to economic advancement, requiring everyone to do and spend more each quarter than we did last, observing the Sabbath is a wholesale rejection of a culture that cares nothing for our collective spiritual well-being. Taking one day as a break from the system that sees us all as commodities, instead focusing on healing and breathing and being in relationship, could be a balm for ourselves in this perpetually moving culture of ours. I write here in my sermon, my aunt is dying. I will tell you, my aunt died about 10 minutes before we started. The last few days I've spent in her home with my uncle and cousins, who are some of my favorite people. Carolyn died at home. She is too young, but she's in bed, surrounded by her family. There is nothing like the stillness of a home waiting for death. I am sure you all know what I'm talking about. These last few days, we've spent a lot of time being still, waiting. We make small talk. We make big talk. People move in and out, friends, nurses, neighbors, caretakers of all kinds, and we sit. We've been holding her hand. We tell her stories. She's been asleep for a week, but we keep talking. We eat when we're hungry, never really clear about what time it is or what meal it's supposed to be. Time has little meaning when everything is just what we understand to be before. There is great sadness in the stillness. There's sadness in the house. And there's connection and tenderness and love. Even as we do little more than breathe together and wait. So many of us, the entire planet really, had the experience of collective stillness for at least 3 months and more like 2 years together, didn't we? We were ordered into our homes. We're told that moving around was hurting us, that we were spreading a deadly virus and we needed to stay still, keep ourselves contained. And as sure as we were that we could never do that on any large scale for any period of time, it was stunning how quickly we all did just that. We all stayed still. We moved indoors and waited. Quarantine felt like a multinational spiritual practice. Everyone inside, everyone stay still. Everyone breathe deeply and lean into your powerlessness. Everyone, shh, don't move. Let's all try it. Let's try just for a moment not to move. Let your hands rest, maybe drop your eyes to a fixed place on the floor, and breathe in. And feel your breath move through you. Let's try and breathe together. We're going to breathe into the count of 4. We'll hold for the count of 6 and breathe out for 8. Doctors tell us this is good for our bodies. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Try it on your own. Breathe in and hold and out. And sit. Feel the seat. Maybe it's uncomfortable. Feel the air on your skin, the floor beneath your feet. Feel the clothes on your body. And breathe. You can let your mind rest. Watch your thoughts melt away. Lean into nothing. Let your body be still, but not so still you feel afraid to move. I was once joining a roshi for the Zen practice of sitting when I realized I wasn't allowed to move. I nearly had a panic attack. So don't be that still. There are no rules. This is just about being. You and I are just being. We aren't doing. We are still. We are breathing. And we are alive. And it is enough. In fact, it's good. It's very, very good. I will keep talking, and you can tune back in, or you can keep feeling your breath moving through you. W.B. Yeats, the Irish poet, wrote, "We can make our minds so like still water, that beings gather about us that they may see. It may be their own images, and so live for a moment with a clearer, perhaps even with a fiercer life because of our quiet." We can make our minds so like still water. Silence is the tool that brings us back from fragmentation into wholeness. So many of us live the lives of division, running from one thing to the next, waiting for moments just to sit down. And when we do, it's often in front of a screen while waiting for whatever's next, possibly someone who's late, who's also living a life of fragmentation. There's an accepted state of constant semi-attention to the sound of voices, music, traffic, the general noise of what goes on all the time around us, or the volcano of words that crash on our computer screens with their attachments and links to more words and tweets and updates. This keeps us immersed in a flood of racket and words, a diffuse medium in which our consciousness is half diluted. We're not quite thinking, not entirely responding. We're not fully present, not entirely absent, not fully withdrawn, not completely available, leading us all into a state of semi-consciousness as we make our way through busy days. Stillness is the healing balm that brings us back to ourselves and into right relationship with the world around us. And so we sit still, just for this moment, with Madison Avenue busy behind us. We just sit. Let's breathe into the stillness of our bodies, long, deep breaths. Let the world progress around as it does. Let the day move and the buses pass and the sirens blare, but we can sit still. There's healing in the stillness. If we do it long enough, we'll hear our own voices quietly telling us where to go next. We'll see our ancestors smiling. We'll feel ourselves rooted in earth and nourished from our common source. These winter days, with or without cold and ice, are an invitation to move inward, to rest, to be still. This is our season to appreciate the Sabbath, the sabbatical of winter. Now is our chance to reclaim our lives from the busyness, to move indoors and discover what the stillness of winter will reveal. So I'm going to close with this poem by the Chilean poet Pablo Neruda called Keeping Quiet. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. This one time upon the earth, let's not speak any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be a delicious moment without hurry, without locomotives. All of us would be together in a sudden uneasiness. The fishermen in the cold sea would do no harm to the whales, and the peasant gathering salt would look at his torn hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars of gas fires, wars of fire, victories without survivors, would put on clean clothing and would walk alongside their siblings in the shade without doing a thing. What I want shouldn't be confused with final inactivity, let alone life alone is what matters. I want nothing to do with death. If we weren't unanimous without keeping our lives so still we could stop our motion. If we could do nothing for once, perhaps a great silence would interrupt this sadness, this never understanding ourselves and threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the seed is teaching us. The earth is our teacher. When everything seems to be dead, everything is alive. And now I will count to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go.